I guess it's good.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to another video of my husband trying to get his ear out of the picture or something.
No, the ear doesn't necessarily need to be in the picture. It's more this shelf thing here with all our stuff that used to be up here.
Okay. Welcome back to the Shire homestead. It has been a year?
Yeah,
Just about?
probably closer to 2 years.
Yeah, I'll
Been a
have to
long
figure
time.
that out. But it's been a while.
Yep.
There's a lot to cover. A lot has changed.
Whole lot.
Yeah. So, I posted a video asking for questions. We didn't get very many, so we just kind of thought we would cover the bases. I mean, sorry if that video asking questions was kind of like a what-duh. It was... I didn't exactly know how to go about this, so... life was complicated. But the first and most obvious question, I'm guessing, is... where is everybody else? Well, after we were in Pell City, which I think my mom posted some updates, while we were in Pell City, I didn't say that, but, after that, we ended up going to an apartment complex in Bowling Green, Kentucky. After that, we ended up on the farm in Manchester, as you know, but while we were in Pell City, going to Bowling Green, my mom and my dad separated. So he was still in Alabama, still is, and my mom took the rest of us and went to Kentucky. Well, we eventually went to Manchester, which she had some friends and family there from a previous marriage that was very bad.
Well, the marriage was. The people weren't.
Yeah, the people weren't. It was just a very tense situation. And then, after a while, in Manchester, her mental health started to decline. Now, I'm not trying to defame her about that, but...
or in any way be derogatory towards her, because...
But, it would be remiss of me to skip over the fact that she was very unwell through most of the Shire homestead things. I believe it was just before we started the channel that she actually started developing a type of multiple personality disorder type situation. But it's not like where you switch back and forth. It's like, it's borderline personality disorder. So she was like changing for a set period of time, like, you know, weeks or months. And then something would happen where something would be stressful and she would flip again. So during this whole time of the Shire homestead, she was Gigi. Her actual name is Kim. And now it's Claire. But it was a very complicated situation. It still is, to be quite honest. But after we left Manchester, we went to a friend's backyard in Ohio.
Yeah.
That was...
That's where this happened.
Yeah. We were living in tents in a friend's backyard. And
rather large backyard. It wasn't just like the typical suburban
back pasture.
Yeah, that'd be more accurate.
But it was not a very comfortable situation.
No.
Later we found out that friend wasn't exactly a friend. But also there was... I had hurt my back when we were in Bowling Green from a bad chiropractor, and I had also had different things. So I was on and off crutches at the time. And it was just...
interesting to say the very least.
We were living
lots of
in tents. There is one video I will try to find where there was a thunderstorm, and my mother lined us all up on 6 mil plastic in the middle of a thunderstorm, standing on it.
To hold down the plastic to make sure we wouldn't get drowned in water that was torrentially coming down. I mean, there was moments where the thunder was striking and the wind was blowing, the rain was battering down on top of the tent so much and so hard that we were like holding up like body weights worth of water. It was
And I'm just
interesting.
standing there on crutches laughing at the absurdity of the situation, going like, this is not how you pioneer anything except...
Trauma and PTSD, maybe.
Well, we didn't die, but you did rip a tooth out of your head.
Yeah, well, the interesting story about that actually. That was kind of,
That was before that thunderstorm, I think.
Yes, actually, I believe it was. But still, you kind of weren't exactly available or around. And
I was right there,
no,
seconds away.
You were not.
From telling you not to tie that knot with your teeth.
That's not. You were up by the house.
I heard the snap, dear.
Well,
and
initially, yeah, at that point, yes, you did. But initially, no. You were up by the house, and I was yelling for you and your mom and your brother. Nobody was around. I was by the tents.
My point is...
Let me finish. The point is, I was dumb, and I decided to use my tooth, trying to hold the knot so I could cinch it. Unfortunately, the wind picked up, and it was like a bowling ball hitting a really hard piece of tile. It was like that really audible type thing. It was really, the pain. I can't even begin to tell you.
Okay, let's not gross out everyone on the internet.
Yes. But yeah, I needed help tying the knots in the tent so that, it didn't blow away with all our stuff. And what little bit of stuff we had.
To be
left,
fair,
but,
that was a really bad day for Mom's mental health, and I was trying to keep everyone from getting skewered in some way for another.
And yes, except, my tooth suffered the skewering.
I'm sorry, okay? But regardless,
joke, really.
After that, his grandparents helped us get a house and we moved in there.
Yes, but that was after the fact that we ended up having to move in to a bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Temporarily, using work as a partial way to make rent or make payment for the stay, not really rent.
Work for board.
Yeah, work for board. That's
it worked out.
It was really, really nice.
The lady was eccentric.
Yeah, eccentric. Very nice. Very what's the word?
Benevolent.
Yes, that's it.
I don't really know how to put it because she was really nice, but she was the type of nice that's...
You don't question that.
You know that
basically.
If you mess up, there will be problems.
Yeah.
So you don't. It was
You take
intense.
you take it face value, and you do the best you can to keep it face value. Otherwise, there'll be problems.
She took the work for board thing
quite
very seriously,
which is understandable. And
yes.
Honestly, it helped us out a lot in the long run. Really.
Yeah, it's just the whole tribunal thing when we asked a question about what she told us to do later that day.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we really needed to do what she needed done rather than ask a boatload of questions. We weren't there on a job. We were there as workers for placement.
Yes, but I'd rather ask a stupid question than make a stupid mistake.
Yes, and not everybody gets that, so...
Yes.
But, that's okay. It worked out.
Yeah, ultimately, everything worked out. During this time, the biggest issue was probably Mom, because her mental illness just kind of started snowballing in that environment.
Yeah, it went from being about that hand-sized snowball you could pitch at something and it'd make that good splash, to the really fat snowball that's a little bit bigger than a softball. It's starting to become the boulder. So
yeah, pre-avalanche moments.
Yeah,
but it worked out, and it was really good because I have asthma. It wasn't diagnosed or treated for a very long time. I actually didn't get it officially fixed until this year. So a lot of the reason that I kind of seemed ditzy and pale in a lot of my old videos was simply because I couldn't breathe, and my it was it was intense. What are you trying to point at?
I'm trying to point at the why did you leave Manchester question, because we kind of skipped over that.
Okay. Why
To
did we
kinda-
leave Manchester? We left Manchester because mom was having, like, long story short, her ex-husband is still in love with her.
Yes.
And she is completely traumatized by this man because their marriage was abusive. We don't know what proportions of abuse was outgoing and incoming as far as she's concerned, because he's equally traumatized.
Yeah.
And he has been, or had been, trying to get her back, basically.
Well, not in a creepy way though.
No,
like,
I mean, just
he would you know,
bring her flowers, bring her groceries,
offer to help her go to doctor's appointments, and all around, like, really outgoing
gentlemanly
gentleman
stuff.
Yeah, like, he was really trying hard to just, if nothing else, just be a good person.
Yeah, but because of her mental illness, that didn't go well, and it ended up hurting both of them a lot more in the long run.
And because of the awkwardness of that, she ended up feeling very unwelcomed in the community.
And her paranoia got up, and she started feeling like everyone was going to shoot everyone, and she was, like, telling us, like, don't go outside, this person's going to shoot you. And I'm like, they just gave me 2 cucumbers and a tomato for dinner. What's wrong with you?
Right. Or, they'd ask us to help them out with the chickens or a couple other different things around.
Yeah, it was like people we'd been living next door to for months, and suddenly they're just like all of these, like,
oh, they're demons. Oh.
Yeah, sometimes literally. So,
I mean, jokes intended, but also quite serious.
We're not exactly joking, basically.
Yeah.
There was a lot more drama, but it's definitely not PG friendly, and it's not something that most people want to have in their mind.
And honestly, it's stuff we haven't completely gotten over either, so.
Suffice to say that Mom at that point was pretty much uncontrollable, as much as anyone can control their ill parent or in-law. I mean, at that point, she was just kind of...
don't even go there with in-law. I had zero control.
Yeah, she had multiple times tried to run off and or literally or indirectly harm him, because there was this weird possession thing with me, and...
You were her little mini-me.
And when I fell in love and my attention was going to my husband, as it should.
Also, your own independence and autonomous thought and, conscious.
Basically, I got married. She's like, it's mine. And that ensued the War of the Ages, basically. Because...
She basically went full Gollum.
Mine, my precious. Yeah.
Jokes intended again, but also not exactly not,
I know
intended.
that this probably seems a little bit more than intense, but I want to assure you that we're trying to make this as lighthearted as possible. There was a lot of tears, a lot of pain. It still feels awkward to talk about, because some of this stuff landed us in hospitals or bawling our eyes out or...
Needed therapy.
Yeah, so... It was a very intense situation for an extremely long time. But why we left Manchester was basically because she got paranoid of everyone, and she decided we were going to leave.
Yeah.
At that point, we didn't really have much say into what was going to happen, but we figured it would be best because people were also starting to ask questions about her mental health. But basically, people were starting to ask questions about why she was acting weird, what she was talking about, and not to go like holy roller, but during this time she also went from her weird New Age Christianity into full New Age and paganism. So
it was more than just paganism, sweetie. But,
and witchcraft and, you know,
Neo-Norse pagan thing, yeah. So
it's not that I'm trying to bash anybody that does that type of thing, but
it was
when you mix it with that level of mental illness,
it's very
scary
and dangerous.
Yes, I mean, you know, she was collecting little bones and stuff outside and making shrines and trying to cast spells on people, and it was very creepy.
Yeah.
And
it invited a lot of, let's say, energy and dark spirits, as well as events
some
that
bad
would have
things happen.
otherwise not been around.
Yeah.
So.
And I got dragged into it, as I did a lot of things back then. I don't do that anymore, just
Nor
personally, but that just added another layer of tension to this already pretty heavy situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, after we left Manchester, we went to the B&B, and then we went to Georgetown, Ohio. That is where a lot of stuff happened, because we did have a house that his grandparents paid for and we took care of and rented. But
as best we could.
Yeah, because at this point our income was more than shot.
Yeah.
The bad part is that there she just kind of stayed in her room and moldered in her psychosis, basically. And then
when doing that also reinforced the brokenness, and the more we tried to reach out and help her keep what sanity there was to keep, ended up getting rebuffed, I guess.
Yeah, she was thinking it was all like shadow work and spirit quests, even though it was, like clinical depression and significant psychosis and sometimes delusions.
Yeah.
And
granted, none of this is obviously actually diagnosed, because she also doesn't believe in doctors unless you're like bleeding or you're missing a limb. So
yes.
But
point is to say, no matter how much we begged her to get therapy, she wouldn't. At one point his brother moved in with us to try to help us, and he ended up trying to essentially broker an ultimatum, because I was a absolute nervous wreck. He was a nervous wreck. She was locking me out of the bathroom because there was
a single bathroom in the house.
Yeah, it was the single bathroom in the house, and there was a door to her bedroom in it and a door to the hallway, but she would lock the door to the hallway and then use her bedroom, and I didn't go in her bedroom, so she would lock everyone in the house out of the bathroom for entire nights.
Yeah, and that was not nice at all. And stuff would go missing, and we might find it in her room, we might not. Sometimes it never showed back up.
We didn't really go in her room until after we made that ultimatum.
Yeah.
Because when we made that ultimatum...
I mean, granted, that was also one of the times where I got poisoned too, so...
Yeah, during Georgetown, we don't know if she was trying to clean it or she was trying to purposefully poison someone, but she put Ajax in the coffee pot.
Let's just say you don't put Ajax in the coffee pot at all, ever. I mean, that's like saying you're going to put OxyClean in somebody's underwear right before they're going to wear it because it's going to make it smell good, but it's really just going to irritate their skin.
Well, honestly, I'm just
she just also did tell me, like, moments within weeks prior to that she doesn't ever do these things, so... I'm pretty sure there was some sort of psychosis there that was just like, he doesn't listen to me, he doesn't respect me, let's, try to, So.
I don't know what went on with that. But he did end up in the hospital. He turned out okay. But,
overall,
we definitely had to start being careful at that point, because she was, one time she filled the house full of bleach fumes.
Yes.
For one sink full of rags. And I have issues with bleach. I'm asthmatic, so I almost passed out by the time I could turn around and walk out of the house.
Yeah.
So. It was bad. But After all that, we were just like, you need to get therapy or you're going to have to find someplace else to live. I'm sorry because,
This
you're
is
getting
dangerous.
bad. This is dangerous. This is unhealthy. And I had Evie and his brother do this. I call him, well, his name is Chris, but
Yes.
I had him and his brother do this because at this point I was so nervous and scared and just not comfortable
Emotionally, mentally, physically, a wreck.
that I couldn't be present because she would always go for me. So during that, she decided to fly out of the house and corner me
Mm-hmm.
because she thought, even though I wasn't even present, that it was all my fault. Because it was always, I was hers, but I was always rejecting her, which I never really did. I mean,
See, the problem is she wanted you to be a mini you, mini her. And when you showed any kind of individuality, it was somehow your fault and it was somehow poisonous to you and the family. So you were never really meant to be outside of the control of her. So
yes, there also was financial exploitation because
oh yeah, a lot.
my brother and I have been on welfare since we've been children because we're both autistic and we have other health issues. And when we were younger, it wasn't as bad, but as we got older, despite the fact that I was able to handle money and different things like that,
It got progressively and exponentially worse due to various traumas.
Yeah.
So
and like even there were times where she didn't even give me an allowance,
which really the allowance should have been to check from the government.
because
but
and I did work for it, so I'm not trying
Yeah.
to be an entitled brat. I mean,
No,
I
yeah.
sometimes worked like a
That
full-time job for things that she did.
actually there was literal times you did that. You built her websites, you helped her run her businesses.
Yeah.
You made sure that her businesses were floating and on top of things. I mean, you did a lot.
Yeah, there was
So, I mean, you learn things that most people our age don't know today. So
yeah, so I did all the Shire editing. I'm sure someone's figured that out by now.
Mhm.
Probably by the fact that clip art's pasted all over everything. But suffice to say, she didn't take that ultimatum well.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that,
we ended up
kind
having to
of
part ways.
flew off the handle, and within a couple of weeks, we had to tell her, like, you have a place to go. Please don't come back. We'll bring you your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to go in her room, and it was
We needed
horrible.
basically a hazmat suit.
There was
We removed 6 trash bags.
6?
Contractor trash bags. Black, big, like almost body size contractor bags.
There
of
was
trash.
rotten food, and there was burnt candles from her spells. The room smelled like blood, so we don't know how that happened. But we think she was trying to do some sort of blood magic, which can get into really dark stuff.
Yeah.
We
there's so much.
And we found probably a dozen or more items that had been taken from our stuff from the kitchen. Or different things for talismans or something, which, I had asked her repeatedly not to involve me in her stuff, but she refused and continued to do it.
Which is one of the many countless reasons why we had to split.